Okay, moving on to site 3. It was a very deep or deep soil, number 1. The surface texture was silt loam, so that makes it a number 3 medium. This would be a heavier silt loam than at site 2. This was actually, I kind of bookended the silt loams in this contest. Some of the silt loams will be right up there around 26% clay, and the others are down probably around 18 to 20% clay. So like site 2 was probably down around 18 to 20. Well, anyway, so going on, that surface texture was a number 3 medium. The permeability was also silt loam, number 3 moderate. The slope, okay, 50 feet between the stakes, so you had to remember to double. And doubling that, you should have gotten something like 6%, 6 feet or so drop between the stakes, so that would make it a 12% slope. Number 5, steep, is the correct answer for slope. The thickness of the surface, this was another one that was kind of riding both sides of the line, 5 to 8 inches, but I think as marked that between the lines, there was probably an average of 7 inches. So if you marked moderately thick, you got full points for that. There were no other points for any other answer. The moderately thick, in that kind of a setting, it's too steep for farming, and yet it's still got some surface to it. And so you would, where you've got that much grass out on the site, you probably should be thinking moderately thick. Okay, let's move on. Erosion was, the original surface topsoil thickness was 10 inches. If you had 7 inches, you were, if you had even 5 inches, you would have been between 25% and 75%. So you should have marked moderate erosion, number 2. The land class is number 6. And then going on to part 3, the land treatment would be permanent vegetation, number 6. And so we move on down to C in part 3, and the rangeland treatments would be use prescribed burning. Okay, now there were quite a number of thistles out on this site, but the thistles were all native thistles. How do you know the difference between native thistles and the noxious thistles that we want to get rid of, the introduced ones? The difference is that the native thistles will have hair not only on the top of the leaf, but also on the bottom of the leaf. And that's what you want to check, is the bottom of the leaf. If it's got hair on the bottom of the leaf, almost all of our natives have that hair there. And almost all of our introduced ones, the noxious ones, do not have hair. And so I found no noxious weeds or noxious thistles in this site, so I did not mark 19. So we're still at 18 right now. And then there were a few stumps out there of trees and a few little small brush plants, but the trees had been removed from the site, and they were only an inch and a half at the base. So they wouldn't have been an inch thick at 4 foot. So we would not mark number 20 either. So we're still at 18. 21 should be marked proper pasture and range management, and number 24 should be marked graze to utilize up to 60% forage production. So that's 18, 21, and 24 should be marked. The fertilizer and soil amendments, the pH was within the range, less than 8.0. The phosphorus was right on the line, and they still say if it's 60 pounds or less, you got to add phosphorus. So number 29 should be marked. The nitrogen was adequate, and the potassium was 5 pounds per acre over the max, so, or the minimum or whatever, so we're fine there again. So only number 29 should be marked in the fertilizers and soil amendments.